Ladies and gentlemen, this is Shapes 2, a massive, mega factory building automation style game where you have to combine geometric shapes and do a whole bunch of automation in order to achieve optimum flow. This is really the factory builder's factory building game. It's fantastic, and it might just be my automation game of 2024 thus far. There are a couple of major changes from the original Shapes to this one. The most obvious and the biggest being that this game has got a whole extra dimension. That's right, Shapes 2 is in 3D, whereas Shapes, the original, was just in 2D. So it makes for a much more interesting and nuanced sort of style of gameplay. There is also a bunch of additional features. There are space trains, and we are going to be exploring all of that and so much more in this episode. Let us get down to business, shall we? We get thrown into this glorious industrial looking world. In the center of the map, there is this big old vortex. This is where all of our milestone resources need to go. In order to progress, we need to shove shapes right into this vortex. Where does it go? I have absolutely no idea. This is a big old sort of space platform. How that sort of works lore-wise, I don't know. I don't care. I just like automating and I like building factories. Anyway, we've got our milestone up in the top left-hand corner. We need to get this shape into here. There are a couple of deposits around the world. We can actually see by looking underneath here. This is a mining platform, and these mining platforms are going to mine those specific shapes, and they are going to manifest themselves in these deposits. Deposits can be extracted by building an extractor. Boom. We can connect up a belt like so. We belt across this little divide here, and then straight into the vortex. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time for these shapes to get all the way into the vortex, but that's fine. We can set up additional extraction capability at the same time whilst we wait for that to happen. Nothing in this game actually costs money. It doesn't cost resources to build any of these buildings. It is all about automation. I think it's a really good choice to have everything effectively cost nothing, because it means that the focus can be on optimizing, and it can be on building a big old factory. Now, we've created something of a circle superhighway here. Already, there is there's no other way to say it. We've just sort of popped an incredibly sophisticated, cool looking bit of kit into existence. And as we can see, top left hand corner, our milestone objective is ticking up, which is grand, and that's going to allow us to progress to the next milestone indeed. Now, next milestone is a little bit more complicated. We have got two shapes. We have got the square to get, and we've also got the semicircle. Now, the square is a relatively easy shape to get a hold of. We've got squares that are being mined over here. Let's throw some extractors down, much like we did with circles. And we'll just do exactly the same right into the center there. Let's get that punted off. You know what? Let's do 4. For all of the 30 seconds that it's going to take me, we might as well. Nice. Okay, that is a decent income of squares. Let's address the semicircle in the room. The semicircle. This is a bit more complicated. So what we're going to need to start doing is we're going to need to start using some other types of buildings. We have got a rotator building, and we've got a cutting building. And in fact, we're going to be using the cutting building. This is a cool bit of kit. What it effectively allows us to do is it destroys the west half of any shape. This is also a very, very important stat here. Buildings per full belt. So 3 buildings per full belt is what we're going to need to process any single belt filled with, for example, circles. Now, bear in mind that we don't necessarily have to chop up circles here. We can chop up anything, but there's this little like hologram thing which shows us exactly what we are going to be chopping, and boom, we zap it right down the middle, and that is looking good. However, that is not our objective shape. Our objective shape is the semicircle on the right-hand side of the token there. So what we're actually going to do is we are going to throw in a 90 degrees clockwork rotator, which is going to do exactly what it says on the tin and rotate the shape by 90 degrees clockwise. It really is that kind of simple. A little bit of an expansion for our shape cutting operation here. That's just a few more semicircles that we are going to be able to pump out. We're very, very close to hitting that objective. We've been given a new square-based objective, which is very, very similar to the current objective that we have right over here. And in fact, now we've been given a brand new circle objective, which is a quarter circle, I suppose, which is not challenging to do really at all. However, what I would have a little look at is or should have a little look at, should I say, is the milestones interface. Now, we need to supply these resources up here in the top left-hand corner. That's going to allow us to progress onto the second sort of milestone tier, and that's going to allow us to get a whole bunch of additional buildings, which is very, very exciting indeed. Right, so I've expanded my operation a little bit here. We've got a series of cutting machines here in order to take the semicircles into quarter circles. We are just about to hit that milestone objective, and we've effectively done exactly the same over here. Nothing too complicated. Everything is simple. It's all feeling very, very good indeed. Our milestone has been reached. It is time to unlock the stacker and the second floor. Let's do it. Thank you very much. This is going to give us a bunch of brand new tasks. It's going to give us the stacker. It's going to unlock the second floor, which is a super cool mechanic. And it also gives us a couple of different upgrades, which we'll talk about in due course. Okay, immediately, we are jumping into some much more complicated shapes here. This is not a challenging one. This is a quarter square, and what we would look to do is probably do a little rotation on the way in. This feels like an inefficient way, but look, this game is all about optimizing. We can optimize. We don't need to necessarily do it now, but this is fine. This is a decent way of doing things. Rotate, rotate, and rotate again. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to rotate 3 times here, which feels like a pretty inefficient way to go about doing things. But again, everything's free, and we don't quite yet have the anti-clockwise rotator. So we're going to have to use 3. If we were able to rotate it once anti-clockwise, that would be great, but we can't. So we're going to have to, set this process in motion and let that one go. However, where things get a little bit more complicated, and dare I say a little bit more interesting, is with this shape over here. So we can click on it, we can get a little sort of deconstructed breakdown, and this is probably the best way to illustrate exactly what we need to do here. Effectively, we need to drop a circle onto a square, and we need to smush them together into whatever this is. A squircle? Let's call it a squircle. I like that. That's a good name for things. And we need 240 squircles in order to achieve the milestone. So how do we do that? We're gonna get one of these bits of kit. This is a stacker. Now, a stacker requires 6 buildings per full belt, so that is going to be 6. And effectively, what we can do, just drop the circles. It's just that simple. Drop the circles. However, this is where the sort of 3-dimensional aspect of this game starts to become very, very interesting indeed. Because what we can do with the transport belts is move them up to an additional level. And that is going to be required, not just to sort of maneuver over transport belts, which is exactly what we're going to be doing here, but it's also going to be required to line up all of those circles over there. And in fact, you know what? I think we're going to delete this entirely. Let's just have a full belt of circles, shall we? And let's do exactly the same with the squares over here. We're going to come up, except we're going to go down over here because there's no real reason to keep him up at the top. And we're going to feed him right in over there and ditch that as well, which is perfect. Okay, let's set up the outputs. And in fact, let's maybe smush this together. And let's just smush that together like so. That's going to work pretty darn well. Now, none of these resources are actually required. We could just cut all of these belts off and just sort of focus on our milestones, but there's no real reason to, right? There's no real reason to get rid of our belts at all. We're completely fine with that. All right, let's try and achieve this objective. And in fact, maybe let's expand our production of the squircles as well so that we can get even more of them into the vortex in a nice, timely fashion. We've got a pretty decent flow rate here of these squircles that are coming through. We're just about to start seeing this additional squircle production facility start to come online. It's going to take a little bit of time. And in fact, it's probably going to take even... I can get rid of that now. Probably going to take even less time now that we've actually punted the entire belt along this line here. But anyway, we have fulfilled our square-based objective, which is kind of nice. Ooh, look at this. This is a nefarious individual right here. Holy cow, look at that. So that is a quarter square stacked on a quarter square. So effectively, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to try and double this production. I mean, we need 400 of these bad boys. That's quite a lot. That's quite a lot to ask. That is quite a lot to ask. Okay, I think what we're going to try and do... Let's take this back because we don't actually need it anymore. Let's do our initial rotation, and we'll actually just sort of try and copy this pretty much verbatim. We don't need to necessarily worry too much about space right now. I am absolutely going to be worrying about space in the future, but for now we're kind of okay with this. And you know what? Maybe. Speaking of space, I could maybe install the stackers right in the center here. This is a recipe for absolute disaster. That, believe it or not, that does actually kind of work. It feels like it kind of shouldn't, but that's okay. Right, so that's looking good. Let's get the outputs here. Let's go up, and let's come down. That seems a bit daft. But you know what? We'll come down and around just so that I can get some better... visualization. I mean, that doesn't really improve things at all. But look, it does work. It does work. We do need 400, which is quite a large number of these bad boys. So that's going to be pretty problematic. Also, I've created another sort of monster here because that was broken before. But now that is fixed. Great. Okay, so that should be 2 full belts of corner squares. What are we calling these? Corner squares. Sure. Let's roll with that for now. 400, it's going to take a little bit of time. We're probably going to want to double things up. Now, what I can do is I can do shift click, and that's going to allow me to select the entire area. However, a big however, is that I cannot actually clone things. Now, I will be able to clone things. If I have a little look at the milestones, we can actually see that blueprints are just a, just a couple of tasks away. Speaking of tasks, ooh, look at this, cutting by step. There are specific upgrades that are specific shape combinations that are going to give us research points, which is quite interesting indeed. Now, are we actually making any? This is a circle on a circle, so we're not making that quite yet. But you know what? Let's pin these bad boys because this will give us some sort of alternative objectives of things to do. Now, these are upgrades, which we can spend, or research points, I should say. We get a research point for hitting 160 of these bad boys. That's going to allow us to unlock some better upgrades for buildings that we already have. For example, the ability to lock the counterclockwise rotator. Look at this. The ability to unlock the counterclockwise rotator, I feel like is worth 200 research points. I mean, that is just going to immensely simplify this entire process for me. So that would be pretty darned great if I could do that. But at the same time, we want to keep up our pace with our milestones. Let's see if we can try and knock a few of these out. That's a triple stacked bad boy. Wowzers. Okay. And keep in mind, every time we make the manufacturing processes for all of these different shapes, we want to try and ensure that we keep the sort of production. We want to try and keep it there. We want to try and keep it and maybe ideally refine it, because a lot of the sort of sequential upgrades are modifications of this initial shape, which is not necessarily super complicated. It's just that we want to make sure that we keep the production facilities up and running. I've expanded things slightly. I have taken a brand new circle production area online and a square production area online. And these are making the stacked squares, which is grand, because that means that we can just throw them right into the vortex. And this is making the stacked circles, which immediately is going to allow us to make some progress on getting those sweet research points, which is grand. We're making good progress on our corner squares, and in fact, this brand new objective here, which was unlocked after delivering all of these squircles, is pretty simple for us to do, I think. It just requires a little bit of cutting, and maybe a little bit of something else, but let's have a little look. So that's going to give us... that's it. Well, okay. What do we need? 400? Easy peasy. Let's do it. I mean, if we need to change this, in the future, we'll just delete these. We'll just delete these machines. That is a very, very, very easy change to rectify if we need to. But honestly, we should be completely fine just to leave this sort of as is for the foreseeable future until we knock out 400. Alternatively, we could look at bringing, bringing some of the circles from here into this production queue, i.e. duplicating this entire process out to the left. That being said, is it necessary? Probably not. I kind of want to keep these circles maybe for some other sort of like little funky bits and bobs that we're going to be exploring in due course. That is our first research point unlocked. Let's get the first 2 research points unlocked. And in fact, let's immediately see if we can try and fix up this system over here. So let's cut a little bit of the track out. Let's do 3 cutters. 3 cutters. So what is that going to take us to? That's going to take us to a left-hand side double-stacked square. So we're going to have to rotate twice, which is no big deal, to be honest. And then throw that in there like so, which is absolutely grand. We've also just completed another milestone objective. That's fine. That's a square. That's a diagonal square combo. Okay, we can make that work. Let's also throw in the exact same shape cutting operation over here just to make sure that all works perfectly fine. What do we need? We need it to be right-hand side, don't we? God, we need that counter. We need that counterclockwise rotator. We need that counterclockwise rotator. We have the option to upgrade belts or cutting speed, or stacking speed. I don't care about any of that. I want me that counterclockwise rotator. There's some swappers. There's a cutter. There's a bent stacker. There's a label. There's a 3rd floor for 50 research points. That is giga cool. I'm a simple man. I want my counterclockwise. I want my counterclockwise rotator. That would be amazing. That would be really, really good. I will say though, this is going to allow us to unlock 2 research points. 2 research points. That's going to be an easy one to complete as well. This is maybe going to be a little bit more complicated, but we can make that happen. This is very, very easy. This is also very, very easy. It just requires an obscenely large number of squares. I almost wonder if it's worth diverting like one of these. I almost wonder if it's worth diverting like one stacker to just do like a double square. The problem is that the balance is set up perfectly right now. I mean, it maybe doesn't look like it because we've got a little bit of blockage here, but as long as this belt is flowing, that means that everything is in perfect harmony, which is kind of exactly what we want to see happening. Now, this isn't it. There is a whole heck of a lot of additional shapes out in space here that we're going to be able to connect up with space trains, as I already sort of hinted at earlier. But for now, this is kind of all we've got to work with, so we maybe need to be a little bit more careful about how we requisition our resources. Let's have a little look at our milestones. We're going to unlock one additional milestone after this. That's a milestone that I would quite like to take a crack at. Let's take a crack at the diagonal squares for now. The diagonal squares and rectifying the diagonal squares should really just be an issue of, frankly, just rotating them a little bit more. So you go top right. So that means we need you to be bottom left. So if we take this out, take this out, take this out, take this out, and then punt that in there, that's going to give us exactly what we're after. That is a ridiculously easy change. You know what? I don't even want to change the location of the elevator there. That is good. That is not how it should work. That needs to be on the. That is not how it works. That is not how it works. That is not how it works. I had it perfectly, and I almost messed it up. There we go. Okay, now we will make the correct shape. Can I make 720 of those shapes? Yeah, questionable. Questionable with just one singular output. Very, very questionable indeed. Right, we've finished our next objective here. Let's get that smashed. Ooh, look at that. We must be close to an upgrade. Now that I've got the opportunity to unlock the counterclockwise rotator, I'm thinking maybe I don't. I know that I've just sort of teased everyone here, but I think I'm gonna unlock the cutter as soon as we hit this objective right here. We'll unlock that, and I think we'll get the cutter because this is going to allow us to separate the west and the east half of any shape. Why does that matter? I'll tell you why that matters. The cutting tool that we've currently got is vaporizing. We can actually see it in real time, vaporizing the other side of the shape. The cutter should not do that. At least I hope the cutter is not going to do that. That is the objective. It does mean that we can be at least a little bit more prudent about how we decide to utilize our shapes. Now, this is making... Oh, goodness gracious me. So this is making the double-stacked... This production line needs to make this. That's very easy for us to make. In fact, tell you what, this is going to be a fantastic opportunity to show off the brand new cutter. So the cutter is going to separate both sides. That's going to give us immediately the shape that we're after right over here, because it's a top right-hand corner wedge. And then we can just rotate this bad boy, right? We can just rotate this bad boy. We're going to have to rotate it 3 times, which is a little bit embarrassing because we could have had a counterclockwise rotator if I wasn't so forward thinking. But I mean, frankly, that's okay. We're going to need to flip you. That's fine. We're going to need to get rotator 1, 2, 3. And that gets us what we're after, right? That gets us exactly what we're after. Now, we do need to produce 320 of these, but that's not a big deal. I will say I have absolutely cut myself off at the knees here, because what I should have done, and what would have been much more sensible, is to actually look at the number of cutters per full belt. As you can see, that is not 1. It is, in fact, 4. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to massively expand this and also massively expand this in order to make it all work, which is fine. We can do that. This looks quite a bit more impressive, to be honest. This actually feels like quite impressive. This feels like a proper sort of like little factory building operation, doesn't it? What else do we need to get sorted? I think it's time we maybe tackle the triple banger. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to try and do. We've also got the half and half. The half and half shouldn't be too challenging for us to do. We do need to try and hoodwink some circles, though. Just a regular old circle we're going to have to requisition. I don't know where I want to requisition a regular old circle from. I kind of don't want to requisition a circle from anywhere. We don't need these guys for now. I tell you what, let's take this belt down here. I'll delete that. And let's take you over to here. And let's see if we can try and combine this output with this output right here. So we're going to grab a cutter because we're going to try and save as many of those shapes as we possibly can. We're going to rotate. That's fine. That's going to give us 2 of the exact same. We're going to get 6. Have I made that work? Yes, that's fine. We'll put these guys on the downstairs. These guys on the upstairs. Yes, I know I need to get way more cutters, but for now, that's not even the right side. That's not even the right side. So this is the right side that we have, and then we need to rotate you twice. That's fine. Okay, so I need to get more cutters. Let's actually take this right back over here. And maybe cutters are not what we need. Maybe we need to be destroying. We're actually doubling up. We're actually doubling up the amount of shapes that we need because we're using both sides of the shape here by rotating them around. That's what we need to do. There we go, because now it's the left-hand side. We actually only need 2. Now, technically, that means the belt isn't going to be completely filled. We might see, or we might start to see a little bit of backlog, but that's fine. I think we just kind of throw this in here and forget about it, to be honest. That is exactly what we are after. That is exactly what we're after. We only need 320 of them. That's completely fine. And I tell you what, there is a part of me that thinks we've got these shapes coming in here like so. Why not have a crack at this bad boy? Why not have a crack at this bad boy? We've got some more cutters. We've got the additional capacity. We need to cut. I mean, we could cut again. I think I kind of want... we can't even do the half destroyer because it needs to be rotated around first. Let's rotate all around, and then let's do the half destroyer. That's going to give us... That's going to give us that corner. That's going to give us that corner. It's kind of the wrong half that we're destroying, isn't it? There's so many different ways to approach all of the sort of different problems here. Yeah, and this, yeah, we need trash in order to make this work. You know what? I'll tell you what. Let me have a little look. Give me a half destroyer. Give me a half destroyer right here. Now, I think we'll probably only need one, maybe two. That's fine. That gives us half. Give me a rotation. Rotation, that's fine. Give me 2 cutters. This is like eyeballing to the absolute max. That gives me this piece, which is the piece that we need, and then this piece, which actually can be rotated clockwise once. Nasty adjacency. Let me take you back. This is where I'm gonna start to get a little bit stressed about the old space. Okay. Rotate you. Excellent. And that gets us 1 belt, or effectively close enough to 1 belt of all this little shape. This little piece up in the corner there. So that's going to be half of it. How do I tackle the other half of it? And where do I want to be combining these shapes? Do we need these ones anymore? We don't really need these ones anymore. So you know what? Let's cut this off here. Let's take this out to this side. We'll worry about evening everything up in a little bit. Let's get that. We'll do a full 4. Not like it particularly matters. But then we will rotate to get the bottom half. Rotate to get the bottom half. This is just so horrific. Imagine what we could do with a counterclockwise splitter right now. It would be amazing. It would be absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's get a stacker set up here. That is 7. I need 6. We'll get this up above. Great. And we'll get all of these bits and bobs throwing into the bottom. Amazing. Okay, so that should just kind of handle itself. I love how it shows you exactly what's going to happen before it does happen. That'll just kind of handle itself, and that'll be good. Okay, I've also got this little sort of quarter circle thing to get set up, but that's actually, like, really, really easy. We can, in fact, just cut and rotate this, so there's no point in having you watch it. I can just immediately, you know, click my fingers and make it happen. So, yeah, it turns out I was pretty, like, space constrained. I've got the rotations for some obscene reason happening up on the 2nd floor here. That's the rotation that is needed in order to make sure that the cutter is actually able to cut. Then we've got 3 turns of the rotator to bring everything in line with the objective that we are actually going for. I built it down here. I don't have any more space in this sort of central area, and it is quite large. I mean, the cutters being 2 squares big is quite challenging. Anyway, let's have a little look at our tasks. We're going to get a heck of a lot more research points. And you know what? Actually, maybe I should have checked that off, or checked these bad boys off, before we even look at some upgrades, because that is going to give me, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, that 90 degrees counterclockwise rotator. Ooh, that's pretty good. Do I care about anything else? Not really. I mean, we got 6 points. Let's go for the counterclockwise rotator. I actually don't want to redo all of this. There's no point. I mean, it's gonna work. We need 720 of these shapes, and actually, it's a full belt. Like, we've got a lot of shapes here. In fact, I think I've over provisioned, because effectively we're doubling up each and every one of our shapes. Instead of just taking one output through, we're taking both of the outputs through. So that's kind of nice. And to be honest, if I was more organized, we could probably, you know, get a sort of second level belt. I mean, I could do that, couldn't I? It just seems like a bit of a... You know what? I actually don't care. It doesn't matter. We're going to reach this milestone in no time at all. Let's look at some of our optional milestones that I can actually... That's not the one. That I can start progressing to. So, this is the... This is fine. This is fine. This is fine too. In fact, this is very easy to give us the one that we want. Yeah, let's cut this out. And instead, let's just slice this bad boy right down the middle. I mean, we just need a half destroyer. What's that half destroyer going to give us? That's the wrong half. Right. So instead, why don't we look at a cutter? What's a cutter going to give us? Cutter's going to give us the exact right shape. Okay, well, how about I look at trash? I mean, trash is 4. It's going to allow us to destroy shapes. That's pretty darn useful. Okay, let's cut. We're going to need 4 of those cutters because that's how many we need for a belt. That is going to go over here. Let's maybe make this a little bit more consistent, please. I'm going to work on the basis that I'm going to get trash kind of soon. Although we will need to do something with this. I mean, I tell you what, why don't we just bungle it onto a belt and, like, feed it to the great void. The great void of the vortex. It's an unbelievably elegant solution. So that's just going to kind of sort itself out in the background. No big deal at all. What else? Chain-wise have we got? This is fine. This is the half semicircle. Half semicircles combined with a half square. I mean, we're already making the half semicircles over here, and in fact, we can just sort of like reintegrate this setup if we need to. I kind of want to make this. I kind of really want to make the triple stacked bad boy, you know? In fact, I really want to make the triple stacked bad boy. How do I make the triple stacked bad boy? Do we need this anymore? We don't need this anymore. Let's get rid of this, and let's see if we can try and triple stack it, shall we? So, let's get 3 stackers. Doing my quick maths. We'll get 3 stackers. We'll get you up here. And we'll get you to come back. Like so. That's actually quite an elegant solution. So, 50% of our output should go up. 50% of our output should go down. And we'll just get rid of that. We'll let these shapes just continue through. Not like it particularly matters, but we'll just punt that right up there. Nice. Okay, so that should give us pretty consistent flow. Maybe it won't be perfect, but at least it's a slightly elegant solution, and it gives us the shape that we are after, right? That is the shape that we're trying to get. Yeah, that's the shape that we're trying to get. So let's see if it says video game unhappy. Aha. Video game very momentarily happy there. There we go. Is that what we're after? That does look... That did look like it was going in the right direction there for a second. Says it's locked. Is that a thing? Are we not allowed to get this? The pyramids? Oh, we're getting that. Oh, that's weird. How many stacks is this? Oh my goodness, this is a double stack. Oh, I completely forgot we're double stacking. Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's kind of cool though. That's really kind of cool. You know what? Just take this belt away and instead give me this belt. The elevated one. Drag this up here. Drag this around. There we go. It looks absolutely horrific, but you know what? It will actually do for now. This is not a part of the system that we're actually using. That's going to get us our double doubles. Okay, we don't want the double doubles. We just want the double singles. The triples, in other words, which is grand. Okay, we're just about finished with milestone 2. Amazing. What about What about our next objective? The half circle, the half double stacked circle, and the half... Oof. Do we have anywhere that... I mean, we're making half circles here. So we're already making them, and we're not going to need them past this point. Maybe we requisition that. Maybe get a single sort of stacker system here. How many more of these do we need? This is not a super complex shape. This is not a super complex shape either. And in fact... I wonder. Okay, milestone has been completed. That's the main objective, right? Oh, look at this. Look at this. We're moving right along. Okay, let's get blueprints. Let's start blueprinting, baby. This is exciting indeed. Copy and paste technology. That's exactly what we're after. A couple of brand new tasks. That's like a 3/4. That's a 3. These are really not that challenging. In fact, we're moving to space platforms very, very quickly indeed. And in fact, I think we're probably just going to blast through this entire stage because I want to get to space platforms and I want to get to them pronto. We've also just completed another little bit of research there. Very, very nice indeed. That would allow us to unlock trash if I want to. You know what? Sure, let's do it. Let's unlock trash. And we can see if we can just throw the trash. Look at that. Right where you belong. Right where you belong. Beautiful. That works out not too badly. Not too badly at all. These shapes aren't even required anymore. Anyway, let's blast through milestone 3, shall we? Relatively minor changes overall. Just effectively added this little sort of interim section between one side of my production and the other side of my production. Rotate this bad boy around, combine them both together in a series of stackers, and that's it. That's pretty much what you're after. I did cache my research points and I did upgrade the speeds of the belt. So if it looks like everything is running ever so slightly faster, if it looks like the belt launches are running slightly faster, if it looks like the extractors are working just a little bit more efficiently, that is because they are. Also, the rotator is working faster too, which is pretty darn good. That was a pretty decent upgrade to get. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. We have hit our milestone objective, which oh boy. This is space platforms, baby. This is very, very cool indeed. This is when, I guess, the micro game becomes macro. A whole bunch of brand new content. None of this stuff was even hinted at in the original shapes. This is all brand new. This is going to allow us to do so much. It also allows us to go into operator certification, which means that we can actually move on. We can move right on in to a brand new factory after we have finished this up. We'll transfer all your progress factory to factory normal. You'll not be able to switch the factory environment after you choose, but you can also start a new game from these factories directly in the menu. Sure, you know what? Let's do it. Let's jump into a normal factory. The reason why this is perhaps something that we want to do is because it's going to introduce another brand new mechanic. This is like color. There's color mechanics now. Oh my lordy, it's all happening. It's all happening. Okay, so what does the platform macro game give us? Let's have a look. We've got some space belt, which is very, very cool indeed. We've got a space belt tunnel entrance. We've got a shape miner, and a shape miner extension. So if we wanted to grab an extension, or if we wanted to grab a shape miner, this is where we'd be able to get squares from. I mean, what do I want? What do I want? I mean, this looks like a somewhat challenging objective, but it's not really that challenging. We can also just start to build foundations in space. Just look at that. Just as easy as that. That is amazing. That is really, really good. Okay, tell you what, give me a shape miner right over there. And give me some foundations right over here. I mean, there's no real reason not to just do the processing for this shape over here. Why the heck not? Let's do it. So, okay, something to note is that at the moment we've just got one sort of pocket open up at the moment. If I go into Shape Miner extension, we rotate that around over there. See, look at that. We're actually unlocking those extra panels. I don't think that we can go beyond 4. We cannot, but we can always sort of get an additional Shape Miner over here and then get sort of additional Shape Miner extensions to all sort of feed in. That's something that we do have the option to do. I don't particularly care for that. Anyway, what I would like to do, though, I would love to see what we can do with this setup over here. I'll anchor that in there. Boom. Okay, looking good. So what do we need? We need the top. We need the top right. So that shouldn't be too challenging at all. Let's get something set up, and then let's see if we can try and replicate it. We're going to try and go big here because we need a whole heck of a lot of little blue corner shapes. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Right, we've got our setup. We're effectively isolating 50% of all of the blue squares in this entire setup. So we're just using the half destroyers at the moment. We can maybe optimize that if we wanted to use cutters, but I'm actually not super bothered about it. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go and set this up to be delivered on this big old space belt, which I have built. And I'll show you exactly how the space belt works right now. So what we effectively do, also, I'm now realizing that these are not in the correct orientation. They might be the right shapes, but they're not in the correct orientation. Let's actually see if we can try and go and unlock a 150% rotator, because I think that's exactly what we're going to need. 150%, that's going to take it to not the right place. That's fine. I just spent those points for no reason because I didn't pay attention. We'll just do this. That's fine. Okay, what we need is we need 2 counterclockwise rotators per lane, effectively. Is that going to work? That will probably be fine. It's going to look a little bit... It's going to look a little bit dodgy, but we're okay with that. And then this needs to go into that lane. That needs to go into that lane. That needs to go into that lane. That can be destroyed. And anchor point there. Boom. Okay, look at that. That is looking grand. And immediately we can throw all of these bad boys onto the space belt. Now, the space belt goes fast. It can handle more. The thing is, though, is that it has the same level of throughput. So at the moment, we can just, we're just using it. It's going on a little bit of a journey, which will become sort of obvious in just a second. We effectively only have the space to onboard it over here, alternatively over there, but this is fine, I think. And the way that we do it is we simply make the ramps work exactly like the ramps between the islands, which I think is pretty darn cool. And to be honest, having chatted away here, we should be pretty much ready to receive all of these goodies. Now, the real question is, where do we want to stick them? Where do we want to stick them over here? I mean, everything is going to need to be elevated. It has to be elevated. There is effectively no other choice. And that will potentially be problematic. That will potentially be problematic. Because we have 4 full belts, right? Yeah, we've got 4 full belts, and I don't have a tremendous amount of space here. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna commit some belt crimes. Look away if you're a. Look away if you don't want to see any belt. Oof, that's bad. But you know what? Maybe we'll be able to sort of maintain the spirit of what I'm trying to go for here. That looks quite good. If you just look at this bit, that actually looks quite decent and quite sophisticated. Right. Why are you not working? You should be working. You need to be orientated in the other way around. Don't know why I've done that. Let's move you like so. We need to rotate into there. Amazing. Beautiful. Okay, so there's a little ramp up at the end here. Boom, boom, boom. Looking good. Look at that. And that is 4 full belts of the shape that we need. He says, "That's not the right direction." Oh my goodness, I've absolutely completely misjudged the shape. Wait, so is this the right shape over here? Oh my giddy aunt. Hold on. I need to orientate it in the same... I need to orientate it in the same direction. So this is bottom left-hand corner here. This is bottom left-hand corner here. This is... So we need to effectively be rotating one to the right. We need to be rotating in the other direction. Right. This is confusing, but we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. So does that give us what we need? That gives us what we need, right? I think that's the ticket. Wrong rotation. But we got it. Oh, did that count? Maybe that counted. Maybe we'd done it right the entire time. We had done it right the entire time. Oh, it just counts. It just counts even though it's not necessarily in the correct orientation. That's fine. We're okay with that. That's good. We like it. Either way, that is 4 full belts that are ramming into the vortex, which is really, really nice. We have got, by the way, a limited amount of platform units. We have only used 107. Do belts? Yeah, belts count towards platform limits as well. Or space belts count towards platform limits. So do need to be kind of careful about that. Although, to be fair, like half of our platform units are just useless. They're not even necessarily connected with what we need. So again, there's so many different ways that you can approach the problems in this game. For example, we could look further afield, right? I mean, this is pretty much the ideal resource for the other milestone 4 thing. But I mean, we could look. I mean, there might be some, that's red dye, I think, actually. There might be a more specific shape that more adequately suits our need. For example, this one here, I mean, it's functionally the same, but like, you know, there might be a shape that is a little bit further afield that we think, hey, we're going to go that extra distance, try and get ourselves the specific style of shape as opposed to you know, transforming it in the relatively limited amount of space that we've got. That is kind of cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, milestone-wise, fluids and painting. Holy cow, there is so much. That's going to unlock platform limit. It's going to unlock fluid mixers. Look at all this. It is all so darn brilliant. Shapes 2, ladies and gents, is phenomenal. Trains, pin push. I don't know what the heck a pin pusher is. Color mixing, crystals. Final qualification. There is so much. I mean, look at this. 150,000 of this specific type of shape. I mean, oh boy. This is fantastic. Shapes 2 is good. Check it out if you're interested. Linked down below in the description. Thank you ever so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Check out the Patreon if you're interested in helping make videos like this possible. But for now and for me, my name, of course, has been Orbital Potato. I'll catch you next time. Bye.